Hey, what's going on guys? Jake Verdon Tech here, back with another video. And today we're going to be talking about drones, and in particular we're going to be talking about the DJI Air 3. In the drones and kind of tech world on YouTube lately, the Air 3 has been a pretty hot topic. In this video we are going to just kind of do a basic review, probably not dig into the specs too heavy, but just kind of go over the Air 3 and the main things that it has to offer, and as far as the user experience and what it's like to fly the Air 3. So hence the overall name of the Air 3. This is I wouldn't say a soft refresh by any means, but this is kind of a complete refresh of what the Air 2S had to offer. So the Air 3 is the middle ground for DJI right now. It is kind of the middle ground as far as price point goes, user level, and the features go. It fits nicely in the product stack between the Mini 3 series and the Mavic 3 series. It does have a lot to offer as far as features. So the most notable feature of the DJI Air 3 is going to be the dual camera module system. So we do have a dual camera system. We have a 24mm lens that shoots at f1.7, and then we also have a 70mm lens that shoots at f2.8. That gives you a wide variety of shooting capabilities. The 24mm, of course, is kind of the tried and true, which you'll find pretty standard across a lot of drones. But the 70mm telephoto kind of gives you a new opportunity to shoot stuff a little bit differently. Having a much more compressed long distance focal range can definitely give you an opportunity for some different shots you otherwise wouldn't be able to get. So I think it's definitely cool to have. I haven't found myself shooting a whole lot on the 70mm, but there is some times where it really comes in handy. Talking more about the camera system in the Air 3, I know one of the main things that had people really skeptical is the sensor choice that they went with. The Air 2S had a full 1-inch CMOS sensor. In this case, we have a 1 1/3 CMOS sensor. So slightly smaller sensor size, which I think really had a lot of people questioning the capabilities of this drone. And it's a very similar, if not the same sensor that you would find in the Mini 3 Pro. Overall, as far as image quality goes, it's absolutely outstanding. The sensor is stacked, which I think makes a big difference as far as the quality goes. And as far as photo options for shooting, there is a 12 megapixel and 48 megapixel mode, which the photos I've gotten out of this particular drone have been really good so far. There was a couple scenarios where I was shooting at a little bit lower light, and I didn't feel like I was getting a little bit more noisy images compared to what I had seen from the Air 2S, which that could have to do with sensor size. Could have been a lighting situation, so I definitely want to dig into some deeper comparisons on the two. But overall, it really is good image quality both for photo and video out of the Air 3. Let's talk about video performance. So the Air 3 can shoot up to 4K, and it's going to have your more common frame rates such as 24, 30, and 60 FPS. And then it does have some in-between frame rates as well, 25, 48, 50. So these same frame rates are going to go for 1080p. The Air 3 does offer some high frame rate modes. You can go up to 100 frames per second in 4K. And then in full HD 1080p, you can go up to 200 FPS. So you definitely have some options if you want to shoot some very slow motion video. I think the 4K 100 FPS is going to be the most practical, but the 200 FPS at full HD might be a decent option as well, but I definitely would be skeptical of the quality just because it is a small sensor and we're shooting at a much lower resolution at a high frame rate. So that's something to keep in mind. The Air 3 is also capable of doing 2.7K vertical shooting and its frame rates goes up to 60 FPS. So this is a great feature for anybody that likes to post Instagram videos, YouTube shorts, or anything of that nature. The crop that happens in camera as you're flying the drone is probably going to get you the best compositions possible. So that way you're not trying to adjust the crop in post. As far as more creative video modes, we have focus track, we have quick shots, which essentially gives you some custom pans you can do around a subject. And as we already talked about, 2.7K vertical shooting. And we have master shots, which allows the Air 3 to do some kind of more dynamic camera movements, shooting multiple clips, and you can kind of edit them with different music and cuts. But it gives you a really wide range of shooting options. We don't have a 5.4K resolution like the Air 2S had, which is something else that was kind of questionable. But the 4K quality out of the Air 3 so far has been really good. I think the next thing to kind of jump into, we've covered the camera. The overall build, it's quite a bit different as far as body style goes from the Air 2S. Air 2S kind of had that similar like Mavic 2-esque body style where a little bit shorter, a little bit bigger arms and everything, but they kind of slimmed down the arms on this one. It made it to a little bit more like the Mavic 3 series, but it's almost like a miniature Mavic 3 in a way, I would say. It's definitely a little bit smaller. It is going to be slightly bigger than the Air 2S, and I might have some comparison shots to show you guys, but overall, it's still pretty compact. The span isn't crazy. I did notice it is, I definitely recommend kind of the props. There is very low clearance, so make sure you are using Air 3 props. I think you can use the Mavic 3 rear props, but I would definitely be careful with that as well. But overall, I really like the build of it. It's pretty slick. Another difference from the Air 2S is going to be the battery's rear loaded, just like you would find in the Mavic 3 series. So, and very similar battery. Another subject on the body is the 4 sensors you will find. We have 2 on the front, then we also have 2 on the rear. So it does have omnidirectional obstacle avoidance and sensing. So opposed to before on the Air 2S, where your side-to-side movements, you really didn't have much protection as far as sensors go. We now have it on the Air 3. So obstacle avoidance is going to be pretty important, especially when you do like the follow me type shots. So that way the drone can just kind of maneuver around different obstacles and it'll be much safer. And even for the size being slightly bigger than the Air 2S, and it is going to be slightly smaller than like the 3 Classic from what I've seen in certain photos. But it still is very compact when it's all folded down. So you can still transport it pretty easily. Pretty much fits in the palm of your hand, you know. But overall, build quality, fantastic. I really like the build and the overall design of it. I do like the rear battery. And talking about the battery, so the battery, another big selling point for this one is the extended battery life. On DJI's website, it is rated for 46 minutes. And I imagine that is for absolute prime conditions where you don't have, you know, little to no wind. Maybe they're testing in an indoor setting. Not exactly sure. I do think it comes pretty close. I would say you could easily get, you know, mid 30, 35, 40 minutes out of your battery, depending on the conditions. Overall, when you're flying it, as far as the user experience and the flight time that you have, it feels like a very sufficient amount of time. So overall, I gotta say the battery life is great on the Air 3. Transitioning from the battery, as far as performance goes, they have increased the descent and ascent rate for the Air 3. I think it's like 20 meters per second ascend and descend, so very fast. And then as far as like the overall top speed I've gotten this drone to go, 47 miles per hour, which is pretty comparable to the Mavic 3 line. I think they top out around there as well. So I think another big feature in kind of the ones we're going to transition into are more quality of life features. The next one's going to be the controller. And with the controller, as you can see, it looks like the regular DJI RC, but we do have these two antennas. So this is the RC2, and the transmission system's a little bit different in the Air 3. So it does utilize OcuSync 4. So with OcuSync 4, you're going to be able to get 1080p video to the controller at 60 FPS, depending on the distance and the conditions. And it's rated up to 20 kilometers in distance transmission. So we do have a much longer range in the Air 3 now. I think before we were around like 12 kilometers with the Air 2S. Awesome quality of life upgrade. The RC1 and RC2 controllers overall really comfortable. I definitely recommend them opposed to using the phone solution. So definitely nice to see the extended range and higher quality transmission from the RC2. So another quality of life upgrade I would say is the battery docking station / charger. I really like what they did with this. It's still a 3-bay charger, but it's more enclosed. And then there is some cool new features with this one, but you know, the batteries lock in. Like I said, I just like that it's enclosed. Opposed to like on the Air 2S, before you would just have a strip and you could plug the top mounted batteries in that way. This seems a little bit more rugged, a little bit more thought out. So as far as the features go on the new charger, this can also serve as a battery bank if you want to charge something like your smartphone or any other devices. You can use the power from your batteries and use this as a battery bank. Another feature they have too is where you can actually take the power from, if you have all 3 batteries docked or maybe 2 docked, you can take the power from one, put it in another. I think you would probably have to have all 3 in, but so for instance, if you have an empty battery and you have 2 that are halfway charged, you can essentially take the power from those 2 batteries, put them both into the one battery so you have one full battery, which is pretty cool. It might not be something I use a whole lot, but I might find myself using it in the field here and there. So that is going to wrap up this video, guys. Thank you for checking this one out. Overall, I got to say, I really love the Air 3. I think it's a great upgrade to DJI's lineup. And I think it's a great upgrade from the Air 2S. Although the Air 2S is a great drone, I do like the many quality of life features that have been improved on the Air 3. I love the main feature being the 70mm telephoto lens. I think it gives you a lot more options for shooting. Overall, I'd say this is a really solid drone for anybody looking to upgrade. And even though it's a little bit more in the intermediate category, I don't think it'd be a bad drone for anybody just getting started. If you guys liked the video, make sure to drop a like on it. And if you want to see more tech-related videos like this one, be sure to subscribe. As always, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.